Hi there, this is Judy with Paper Palm Tree, and I have a Christmas card I want to share with you today. This is a fun fold pop-up card that is called a step card, and if you can see it from the top, it has layers, and that's what gives it the dimensions there. So let me share with you how I did this card. I started with a piece of Night of Navy cardstock. Love this cardstock. This is really pretty and nice and thick, and that's what really gives this really good structure. So Night of Navy is what I've used. And I have another piece of the Night of Navy here. Let me go back. This is cut at 8.5 by 5.5. So for this backdrop, I have another piece of the Night of Navy, and this is, let's see what this is cut at. Where did I do with it? Oh, okay, right here. This is cut at 4 by 4.25. 4 by 4.25. And I've already pre-done the trees back here. This is Whisper White, and I have heat embossed the trees. The trees came from this stamp set, Lovely as a Tree, and this is what I've used here. I also used the big pine tree for this one, but for this was heat embossed with pearl, I think, and I'll show you how I got the color on there. And then I liked having a little bit, let me set that back over here, of the like snowbanks in there. So I have a piece of Whisper White that I've used for the front there, and I had another piece. Oh, here it is. It was in there. And this is for the curved front. I have already stamped and done my coloring on the car and the pine tree. And I put this one back here that it's I think I did that on Smoky Slate. And I just like, it needed a little something else to give it dimension there. So that's from the Lovely as a Tree also. So the sentiments, this is from the stamp set. I think I'm all over the place here and I apologize. But this is the sentiment, It's a Wonderful Life. And I wanted a little tag. This one has a Happy Christmas on it that's kind of curved, but I don't know. I just wanted something a little different. So from the Seasonal Chums, I've used this small little sentiment, Merry Christmas, and that's what I made the little flag with there. So the base of this card, I really want to show you how to do the cutting and the folding, and really how I did the coloring of the background. Okay, so let me set that up there, and let's start with the base of the card. And I'm going to get the trimmer out. And here's my template, and I always make a template for things that I think I'll use in the future. So this is how I do mine, just on a cheap little cardstock. I write my dimensions down and where my score lines are and my cut lines. So I keep a stack of my templates, and then I can kind of sort back through cards that I've made and things that I've liked making and know that I want to try some other things with them. But so there's my template. I'll set that right there. So I'm going to line this right side of my cardstock. This is the short side up here, and I'm going to line that right side at 1 1/4. And I don't know if other trimmers does this, but this goes to 1 1/4 on this side. So I'm going to put this cutting blade at the 1 1/4 mark right there, and I'm going to cut it down to 6 1/4. And it's hard to see that. Let me put this up under there. And if you put something white under, you can see where that line goes. So I'm right there. And I'm going to cut it down to 6 1/4, right there. And there's the cut right there. So I'm done with that part. And I'm going to get the scoreboard out. And where this cut is at the 1 1/4, I'm going to start right there, and I'm going to bring it down at the 1 1/4, and I'm going to go 2 1/4 again at that cut line, 2 1/4, and then 3 1/4, and then 4 1/4. Now the 4 1/4, I'm going to go straight down both sides of that cut line there. And the last one I need to do is, let me see where that line is. The cut line is, yep, it's right on the mark. So I'm going to go to 6 1/4 where that cut line is. Goodness, hard to see on that navy. Right. Goodness, right there. I got it? Yep, I think I do. And you see these all over the internet. They're this fold has been around a long time, and I've made several, and I've enjoyed making them, and I like the dimension that it gives. Let's see. Here, I'll fold that one in, and that one up. I know, I'm doing this a little awkward. There we go. Let me see if I can explain what I just did, because that didn't make sense while I was folding it. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. So you're going to have, stretch it back out. Let me make sense out of this. This is the 6 1/4. This is the 4 1/4, 3 1/4, 2 1/4, 1 1/4. So the 1 1/4 is a mountain fold. The 2 1/4 is a valley fold. Mountain, valley, mountain. And so when you push that together, it creates the different levels. I sure hope I made sense there. Goodness. One of the things you learn about doing videos is what makes sense to you sometimes. Putting it to words and showing somebody to do it is a whole nother thing. Okay, so that's ready. That's our base. And this is going to be the 4 1/4. I need to cut that one down. Yeah, I need to cut that down. So I want this to rest in that valley fold right there and come up to the top, because I do want this to fit into an A2 size card. So let's see if I can mark that. And let me get my trimmer out for that. And I'm going to go right there. So let me check that measurement again for you. This is 4 by 4 1/4. I don't know why I didn't have that cut properly when I put it in my stack. So that's going to go in there, and see where that lines up. And I will glue that down, but I'm going to do the other inking before I do that. So I'm going to get me a piece of scratch paper. And this piece is the piece that's going to go in the back there on this one. And this one needs to be cut also. But this has the heat embossed with the pearl. And you may not be able to see that on the camera. But I'm going to ink it up before I cut it. Okay, so I used on the inks, I used Soft Sky. And I used... let's see the colors I had. Pacific Point, and then Night of Navy. So those are the 3 blues that I used to create that little bit of a backdrop. And so I'm going to take a sponger thingy and get some ink on it. And I like to start off, because if you don't start off with the card, it gives you weird swirly marks on it. But I'm just trying to create the little bit of the dark sky in the background. Snowy, icy, cold looking. And I'm going to go down just a little bit farther than where the last of that embossed area is. There we go. It's already looking icy. And I'm going to get my Pacific Point and same sponge and start off again. And the last of that is going to be the Night of Navy. There we go. This one's a little darker. The interesting thing about making a sample card and then trying to recreate it is it does kind of sometimes change up a little bit. So you can see that that ink looks a little different, not as white as what that one is. It was the same embossing powder. So I'm not sure why, but anyway. But that'll be fine. It'll look nice. And so I'm going to attach it to that. So I do need to cut off a little bit here to get that to fit. Right there. I'm going to set that aside. Got a little ink on my hands. I'm going to set that aside and let that dry before I put that together. So I want to do the same things on these, on the snowdrift banky parts of this. So I'm going to go back to the soft sky and just do it lightly on these two front pieces. So doesn't take much on these because you're really just trying to make it look a little bit icy and cold and like a snowdrift. And just a little bit of that blue. A little bit there. I like that. And then I like to just kind of blue up the edges of these just to kind of make them look like they're working with the backdrop. Very pretty. I like this tree. This lovely as a tree has been around a while. I do think that this, I'm not sure if Stampin' Up tells when they first come out, but this has been in the catalog a while, way before I was a demonstrator that I've had this. So I'm not sure when this came out, but it's such a staple and so versatile. Really pretty. You know, you can make this spring, fall, winter. And I really, when I first bought this, I really got it for that tree because I really liked it so much. Okay, enough talking. All right, so those pieces are done. And I'm going to put these two pieces together here. Let me get my adhesive. There we go. Oh. And this is going to go right there, so probably about right to there. Oops, ran out of snail right in the middle of this. So let me get my refill on my snail before I go much further. I'll be right back. I'll put this one on here. go. And on these pieces, I put these up with dimensionals. These I pre-colored just because it takes so long to get the ink on them, and I didn't want to do that on the video. It just would take way too long. So, maybe one day I'll work on just showing how I ink them up. But for this one, you know what? I think I want to put the tree on there first. Let me make sure that's deep enough. I think I want to cut some of that off. And the tree right there. And this is The Wonderful Life. It's a Wonderful Life, and I really love this movie. And remember the car hitting the tree, and that's what inspired me here to look as if the tree was running through. You know, one thing I did do too before I go any further is because I wanted it just to have a little bit of the snow traction there. Let's see if I can get that out. I used a little crumb cake on it. And I should have done that before I put that on there, and I didn't. But that's fine. So I just tap a little bit in. Right there. Doesn't take much for that. Alrighty. And this one I'm going to put up on a dimensional also. And that goes in behind here, just to give it a little dimension there. Like so. And I had two of the sentiments I wanted to do. It's a Wonderful Life. And I did those in the Night of Navy. And I'll do this over here. This has a really pretty font to it. I really like that little touch it has on it. Very nice. And just going to punch this out with a 1-inch hole punch. And I'm going to take this little dauber that's still got some ink on it, go around it just a little. And on this one, I think I need some longer scissors. Go right up there. And there. So put a little adhesive right here. And this one, I just stuck down in there. Let's see if I can get a little piece of it there. A little bit right there. And the last thing I did was this little, looks like a string of lights. And I have not stamped that, so let me get that one out. The inks I used on this is Old Olive. I did a little bit of Soft Suede, Smoky Slate, and Daffodil Delight. You know, you just use the ink colors that I have. but I'm using the old olive on the string of lights. And I'm doing that twice. Let me grab my real red. And the aqua painter. And just do a little color. Not on every one, I didn't do the red. I just, let's see, I had some yellow and some blue on them. And let's do that right there. And let me grab my yellow and my blue. Yeah, maybe one more. Right there. And the last one being my yellow. Let's see. Got a little ink on there. And for this yellow, where these little highlights are, I just kind of made it like the lights were a little glowy. Not fussy with that, just kind of getting some color in there. There, just like that. All right. And good. Oh, I think I'll get my trimmer out on this to make sure I'm really straight. So I need it to, I guess I better do it this way. I can hold on to it. Am I going to be able to hold on to it? Maybe right there. No. Okay. Let's see, that might be too long still, but let me see. Yeah, I want it to come right there. And I just need a little something there. That's why I put that string of lights there. Just because I didn't want it just to be a snowy scene. I want it to look Christmassy also. So I'm going to put that. Goodness. There. That's better. Put that about right there. There we go. Isn't that a pretty little card? I really like that. You could write your sentiment here, you know, to, from, or whatever, or you could back this with a piece of white and write back there. And I think I like this card an awful lot. I may do some more. It takes a little while to get the parts in there, but I think it's a card worth it. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, if you'd hit the like button. And if you'd like to see more from me, subscribe to my channel. And if you'd like to any of the Stampin' Up! Products, you hit the shop button at paperpalmtree.com and it'll take you to where you can purchase any of the Stampin' Up! Products. So until next time, bye.